What's this? A premature fire? Oh no, we can't be having that. Oh, look at that. Yeah, I chucked something in there I wanted to burn, and I thought to myself, oh no, that's not suitable for YouTube. So let's see if I can get a fire going. And then toss some stuff in. This fire is brought to you by Five Guys. This is still, it's still damp. Well, mind you, recent fires I've been doing haven't exactly been hot. So with any luck today, it'll be a bit better, because that sounds dry, doesn't it? But look at that, that's a rubbish fire. It's like Greta Thunberg lit this fire. Oh look, we've got one of those. Do you remember those things? That was going to protect us from the world's deadliest disease. Yep. I won't speak any more about the world's deadliest disease because poor old Stephen J. James, he was being very impartial about it, and he got a strike on his channel for misinformation of a medical sort. What's this thing here? There's something that's stuck together. Oh, I know what that is. Yeah, yesterday I found I got a plastic bottle which didn't burn. That was fun. So I think it's probably... No, it hasn't blocked it. Good, the ash managed to glue it together. So my fire can breathe. And when my fire can breathe, then so can I. Because it encourages a nice healthy draft into my house, making sure things are ventilated. Until such a point as when the weather's more pleasant, and then I can have what? I can have something. The window's open, that's it. It's currently 17.8 degrees in my room, so yeah, things are nice and warm. Let's see what's going on there. Look at that. That's a bit of rust, that is. As I mentioned in previous videos, those pans are untreated, as I gave them a thorough scrub. But at least there's not that nasty smell from them now. I said to my dad, because he was asking about the Jag, he said, how's the Jag? Is it alright? And I said, yeah, apart from it had a little bit of a smell, but it's dissipated now. I assume it was something to do with new cooling. He said, it could be exhaust paste because they had to fit a new old exhaust manifold on. I thought, yeah, I hadn't thought of that. It makes sense because as that gets hot, it would give off a smell. Never thought about that. I always just thought there's like, yeah, but it makes sense, doesn't it? Because when you put a head gasket on, you have to put some sealant around the gasket. And I've never seen a gasket for exhaust manifolds. I mean, I assume they exist. But with the sort of pressures you're dealing with, you don't really want a gasket, you want just a seal. Saying the name gasket just sounds unusual to me. I'm going to put some accelerant on this because I'm an impatient man. So just squirt a little bit onto the peanut shells. And let's get a good fire going today, shall we? Because the past few days it's been smouldering. Is that a bit better? Yeah, look, we got a little bit of flame over there. That must be the other bit of cardboard. And a little bit of flame there. And that's just burst into flame, so Hopefully those peanut shells will catch a light soon. Just pop in another stick to go there. And then some of these logs have been drying off. We'll put them in as well. And then I'm going to get some more wood from outside so I can get that drying off as well. I could be using coal. I should be using coal. Eventually I will revert to coal, but it just dealing with the ashes and such is a bit more it's a bit more inconvenient. One of these days I'll do a proper coal fire, you know. I'll do like you know, here's my kindling, here's my log, and I'll pause it, come back an hour later and it's like, right, here's the coal, and then pause it and show it again. Thing is, it's not very dramatic, a coal fire, because you get a great amount of heat from it, you really do, but with anthracite there's no flames to talk about. You might get a little blue flame here and there, and that's the hydrogen burning off. It's just, you've got coals, they glow orange, and you get heat from it. And then eventually the coals fizzle out, they shrink to a fraction of the original size, and what you're left with is silica, and if you keep this reaction sustained for a long period of time, you get clinker. And that's one of the reasons I don't like using coal in this fire, because it's inefficient, so it's a waste of coal. I will occasionally do it if I've got no other fuel, or if it's really cold, or I want to heat something up and I won't have it on the electric stove. Speaking of which, I've got my leftovers in the electric stove, so I've just put them on the very low heat, and I'll give it a stir when this is done. Yep. I'll put a bit of water in it because it's weird. When I did it, I just thought, oh, that's a lot of liquid. And but then when it dries, when it solidifies, it all dries up and goes gunky. So yeah, I'll put some liquid in it. That's a point. I didn't do my clean-up yesterday. Ah, here's my brush. I kept the cartilage in my my turkey stew, and I bit into it, and I was really struggling to just go, oh dear, I'm to chew around that. It wasn't a pleasant experience at all, but I'm told the best stocks have melted down cartilage in it. I think what I'll do in the future is I will make my stock and then I will strain my stock. There's an idea. A strained stock. And then once I've got a stock, I can make a soup or a stew or a casserole. Anything which requires a stock. Any dish where you go, would this be improved if I added some liquid flavour to it? If the answer is yes, then add some stock. I'm making a Mariana sauce for my pizza. Would it benefit from a chicken stock? Well, no. Add some. See if it tastes any different. Or I could make a Roman pizza, and I could have, instead of anchovies, I could have a tiny bit of garum in the sauce. And I'm not sure what Romans would have made with tomatoes. They probably would have liked them. I mean, their descendants like tomatoes. Although apparently the Roman Empire and stuff, it's all a myth, and they're actually Romanians, and that's why which was ancient Dacia, by the way. That's why Romanians is closer to Latin and all the other Romance languages, which I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, I've seen some nouns which look close, but as I don't speak Latin or Romanian, I can't really say how close to the mark that is or not. So it's an interesting theory, and I certainly have seen some interesting things about, yeah, the Romans have got this interest in the Dacians, you know, to show to others. But so much of this stuff is lost in myth now, so it's hard to say really. And I'm being far too premature. I say this, like, I've said this multiple times, but I really do get a bit premature with putting the. I mean, look at it, the peanut shells haven't completely burnt through, and I'm putting a log on. Sometimes I wish I had a bigger stove. If I had a bigger stove, what I would do is I'd have logs on the sides and kindling and tinder in the middle, and then when I can see that the kindling is starting to burn up, I'd push the logs in and I'd put a log on top, and that would be great. As you can see from my bonus video I uploaded today, by the way, that house doesn't exist anymore. Oh my god, I snuffed it. That was great because you had the logs to the side and then you just push them in, and there was 2 bits of ironwork on either side, so you could have a so you could actually rest the logs on it. It was great fun watching it because eventually what happened is the logs would lose their structural integrity, they disintegrate and they collapse in the middle, and then you put another log on top. It's brilliant. I loved it. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but peanut shells and a little squirt of paraffin is not the ideal fire lighter. Hey ho. Smells a bit like peanut. I'm not going to close the door on it just yet, because I know if I do it this critical venture, it will snuff out that flame. And oh, that stick there, you see, it's load bearing. I wanted to move it and place another one there. Yeah, that caught a flame. And there's a little orange ember down there in the corner. What if I put like you in there? Oh, I'm also going to link to a very old series on YouTube. Hopefully it's still around. It's called How to Light a Fire by Bob with a B. And he's this South African bloke. And it was brilliant. He's just sort of, you know, doing all these sorts of various ways you can light a fire. Now, mind you, in South Africa, you've got plenty more choices how to start a fire, because you've got a thing over there we don't have in this country called sunshine. And sunshine, when you concentrate the rays onto a point, you can light a fire with that. And hey, look, speaking of that, we've got a few little embers. He says with a high-pitched falsetto voice. But that's, I think, also the hopeful pitched voice. When you do like little voice like that, what you're saying is, I'm hopeful. What I need, I should try Vaseline with this as well. I don't have any Vaseline. But I should try, because I reckon you can spread Vaseline as a paste, and I know it's flammable as well. So maybe next time I'll go and get some firelight equipment. I'll get that. Oh no! What I need to get is called baby oil gel, and it's halfway between Vaseline and baby oil. So it's a gel. And yeah, just smear that on a couple of sticks. But there we go. And let's see how long that fire lasts for. Diesel's another one, but diesel's a bit smelly, so I'd rather not burn that. Cooking oil. Cooking oil is another one. Yeah. Maybe I'll soak a couple of rags in some old cooking oil and because I know in my family, uncle's got a fryer, so I could just say to him, "Hey, can I have your used oil?" He's like, "What, are you going to burn it?" I said, "Yeah." Maybe next car, I need to find one which is comfortable. So it needs to be quiet when running. But an old diesel and just run it on cooking oil and biodiesel. Yep. I mean, it must be viable enough because places like McDonald's, they recycle their cooking oil into diesel for their lorries. I think if you do it over a certain mileage, you have to pay tax on it, but below that mileage, you don't. And I think it depends on a self-reporting system. So, oh look, I just happened to only do 10,000 miles in a year. Yeah, honest Gov, I do my 10,000 miles and then I just switch to normal diesel. Yeah, hopefully it'll clean out the fuel filters. That's the other thing as well. Like, I've never really spoken with anybody that does it, but like, is what you save on fuel more than enough to make up for what you lose in fuel filters? Oh, and I assume if you're doing this, you need one with an easily serviceable fuel filter. You don't want it like with my previous car where the fuel filter was part of the fuel tank itself and not a user serviceable part. Unless you're talking about replacing the fuel tank every time, and that's going to be a pain in the ass. So, yeah. I assume what they do is they put the pump and the filter into the half completed tank, and then they weld on the second part of the tank, and then, I don't know, maybe put nitrogen or carbon dioxide gas in it just to do a leak test. That's the way I'd do it. Because how do you do it? There must be welding. Like maybe they crimp it across and weld it, or maybe it's not welded. Maybe it's just you sort of crimp it over, and you fill in the gap with long-lasting solder. Because I mean, it doesn't have much thermal expansion. I mean, it's only plus or minus 40 degrees, and sort of like as low as minus 10, as hot as 40 or 50 degrees. But anyway, I got to go and check my cooking, and I'd say this fire's done. Answers in the comments below about comfortable diesels you've driven, ones you can happily go up and down the motorway all day, every day. Because one of the reasons I like petrol is the engines are generally quieter, and generally they are quieter. Although I'm sure if you had a vehicle with plenty of sound deadening material, it wouldn't matter what engine it had. Anyway, thanks for watching, go away.